Hey, it's Mark Ferguson with Invest for More, and I'm outside a rental property I bought in 2012. Bought this for $109,000. It's worth over $300,000 now. Been a crazy market here in Colorado. But I also refinanced it along the way. So I basically have taken money out of it, had no investment. It's cash flowed the whole time, and has been an amazing property. It's still rented right now, so we can't go inside to see it, but I thought I'd just show a picture of the outside. And kind of go through how I bought this property, how we refinanced it, the money it makes, and how great of an investment it's been. And along the way, talk about the refinance process, the cash out refinance process, and how that works. So, of course, check out investformore.com for more information on my rentals, flips, being an agent, all that good stuff. And we'll get started talking about refinances and this rental. Here's the property when I first bought it from the MLS. So it was listed for $115,000. I got it for $109,000, and it was actually a short sale, a VA short sale. It was a pretty quick close and great deal. I mean, obviously now it's worth over $300,000. Is a pretty good deal buying it back in 2012 for $109,000. However, it's kind of interesting looking at the history. You can see what it was listed for. It was for sale for a while before I bought it. It was $135,000. They lowered the price to $120,000. It actually went under contract at that price, came back on the market, and then I made an offer at $109,000 after they lowered the price again and got it. Man, boy, if we couldn't go back in time and just buy hundreds of these. I bought 15, which was great. Very happy I did from 2010 to 2015. But, what I wouldn't do for prices and rents like this, because I think I rented this for $1,300 after spending maybe $10,000 to $15,000 of work on it. Wasn't a bad rehab. House wasn't in bad shape at all, but it did need a little bit of work. And you can't see these pictures too well, but we painted and did flooring mostly. That's about all we really did. And as I've owned the house, we've had very little work as well. We had to replace the roof, but my insurance covers most of it because it's hail damage. We've had some water issues where water seeped in the foundation, and it took a couple tries to fix that, but it wasn't huge, major cost to do that. And I think maybe, did we even paint again? I don't think we've done hardly anything owning it over 7 years. Now it rents for $1,600 a month, and we refinanced it, which means we pretty much took all the cash out of it that I had into it in my down payment and repairs, and then some. So it's been a free investment that has made me hundreds of thousands of dollars. That's why I love real estate. So I'll show you some of the numbers on it right now. Here are the numbers on what I bought the property for and how much it cost me. So I'll go through them here real quick. Like I said, bought it for $109,000. I was able to get an 80% loan-to-value loan from a local portfolio lender. That's a local bank. They would give me as many loans as I wanted. Had to put 20% down, though. Down payment, $21,800. That's my 20% down. Then I had the seller pay closing costs for me. So part of that $109,000 offer was the seller was going to pay $2,000 of my closing costs. So technically the seller only got $107,000. And I could use this towards other costs because besides your down payment, you'll have, an appraisal, loan origination fee, other costs that can add up to 2 to 3% of the loan. So that helps me reduce those costs. I don't think it covered all of it, but I probably had about $23,000 with my down payment and other closing costs to buy this property. Now I made about, we'll say $12,000 in repairs, not sure on the exact number, but it's a pretty easy repair. And while I was making those repairs and after I bought the property, I had other closing costs. So, I had utilities, I was making house payments. These costs are probably way too high, but I'm just being conservative here and saying that those were $3,000 and total repairs and carrying costs, $15,000. So I basically had $38,000 into this property before I had it rented. Now my payment on the property was about $416 a month. And that's based off the $87,000 loan at like a 4% interest rate, which is what I got back then. It was a ARM, so fixed rate for 5 years, but then after 5 years it could adjust higher. However, there's no balloon payment, so they couldn't ever call my loan due for 30 years. That loan is good for 30 years, but the rate could go up or down after the first 5 years. But with the ARM, it could not go up more than like 8 or 9%. I'm not sure what it was. And the rate won't go up if current rates aren't very high. So I like ARMs. They're fine. They're not as risky as a lot of people think. Also had taxes I had to pay. Taxes are extremely cheap in Colorado. These would be monthly taxes, monthly insurance. So my total payment was $546. And then I always account for vacancies, maintenance, just 5% of the rents, 5% of the maintenance on this one. Colorado has extremely low vacancy rates, really easy to rent properties. That's why I use 5%. If I was in an area with higher vacancy rates or maybe doing multifamily where there's more turnover, I would probably increase that to 10%. Maintenance, we just fixed up the property, so I use 5% for maintenance. Again, if I was in an area where there's more turnover, if the property wasn't recently fixed up, I would increase that amount too, but we're looking about $130 a month for those two costs. So total my rent is $1,300 a month, other costs $676. I was making over $600 a month from my $38,000 investment, which is about a 19.7 cash on cash return. So you take multiply that by 12, get your yearly cash flow divided by your investment. Fantastic investment. Now, something else to realize, though, too, is I was managing these myself back then. Up until I bought my 7th rental, I managed all the properties myself, so I didn't include property management costs. Now, I have a property manager who charges 8% of the rents, so I'd add another $100 or so a month to that cost. Still making great money, fantastic money, and just an amazing investment back then. I wish I could do this over and over and over again right now, but we can't in our market because prices have gotten too high. And something else to consider is that when I bought this property for $109,000, and I mentioned it's worth more than $300,000 right now, that's not all appreciation. I got a really good deal on this property, and I'm going to show you right now how good of a deal it was back then with some comps. Here, comps is sold back in that time period, so I have to go back there to see what houses we're selling for. Here's one really similar, really close, and it sold for $140,000 a few months before, and it was a short sale. So it was a short sale, commission to be split, sold as is. So property's not in amazing shape. We're selling for $140,000. Another one that was not great. It's okay, but still not, fixed up quality properties. That one's decent, but it's much smaller than mine was. Another one that's similar to mine, but again, not in amazing condition. It's fine, but you can see I built in a lot of value by buying the property. It was probably worth $160,000 fixed up in really good shape after I made those repairs. So I had built in equity as soon as I bought that property, and after I made those repairs, kind of even more equity as well. And that's the value of buying rental properties below market value, because then you can refinance them and take money out, which I'll show you now. Here's what happened when I refinanced the property. Now, I didn't refinance it right away. I actually did it 2 years later. And the reason was when I bought these properties originally, I wasn't planning to do a refinance and take all my money out. I was planning to put my money into them, collect rent forever, slowly pay down the loans, and just have them as this investment accumulating cash flow more and more and more. But I got to a point where values had risen and I had equity in these properties, and I thought I could put that equity to better use buying more properties instead of leaving it in these properties. So I refinanced a couple properties over the years, not all of them, and that is bringing more cash to me that I can invest in new properties. So you can see here what the refinance does. Now, this property appraised for right around $191,000 in 2015, 2 years later. So we had the built-in equity from buying below market value, plus prices appreciated during this time. They went up. So I was able to refinance at a 75% loan to value. Notice when you buy a property, many times you can put 20% down. But when you refinance, a lot of times it's 25% down. They want more skin in the game when you refinance. Now, the way a cash out refinance works is my new loan is $143,500. I can then pay off my old loan, closing costs, and I get this much money back from refinancing. So you're not just replacing the loan and lowering your payments because of a low interest rate. You're getting money back, and that's the beauty of a refinance. So my loan was paid down. It was originally $87,000. After a couple of years, it's down around 84. You have to basically get a new loan, so you're doing a new appraisal, new origination fee, other costs. So you do have to pay those closing costs again. And this time I can't ask the seller to help me since it's my own house. But after paying all these costs and paying off the loan, I got $55,000 back. So that covered all the costs I had from down payment, repairs, everything, and then some. I basically made $17,000 on this property, and I still made money on it. So the things to remember with the refinance is your payment is going to increase. Now, I think rates went up slightly, so I was at a 4.5% interest rate based on the much higher loan amount. My new payment was $725. We said taxes were slightly higher now. Insurance is slightly higher now. I'm renting it more, so I count more for vacancies. And I bumped my maintenance up a bunch just because I've owned the property a couple of years. It's not brand new anymore. There's a better chance we might need some repairs. So with all those costs, I now have $1,100 a month in costs instead of the $600 in some or whatever it was before, because, everything has gone up over a couple of years. The rent also went up to about $1,500 a month this time, so I was making $400 in cash flow. But again, that's without property management. Now, right about this time, I switched to using property managers. So if you had property management in there, it'd be more like $300 a month in cash flow. However, I'm still making $300 a month in cash flow. I have almost $50,000 of equity in the property, and I got back $15,000 from this deal. So I have negative $15,000 invested. I'm making $300 a month even after management, and I have $50,000 in equity. This is why I love rentals and I want to keep buying more and more of them. And I wish I would have bought, not that I had the ability to, but like 100 properties back in 2012. And this refinance is what makes it so powerful, because you can take all your money back out, still have equity, still be making money, and you can use this to go buy another rental or maybe two rentals depending on the market. It's an amazing strategy. And this is the BRRR strategy that so many people use: buy, rent, repair, buy, repair, rent, refinance, repeat. Now, normally you do a BRRR strategy much faster than I did. You don't wait 2 years, but it's the same concept of buying a property below market value, fixing it up a little, renting it, refinancing it, taking most or all of your money back out, repeating the process over and over again. So cash out refinances can be amazing for rental properties. And right now, I'm sitting at a value of probably $315,000 for this property, which is crazy. My loan balance is $135,000 in that range. I still have the same payment. Taxes and insurance have gone up slightly, but not much. And we're renting for $1,700 a month instead of $1,500. I think I might have said $1,600 earlier in the video. I just checked. I was wrong. It's $1,700 a month. So it's making me, more money every month, have a ton of equity in it, a fixed, payment for right now. And I basically have minus $15,000, $17,000 invested in this house. So amazing opportunities for rental properties, amazing ways to buy properties because of the leverage, the financing you can use. And when you buy really good properties, it shows how you can make money and still not have that much invested. Now, you have to be careful. You can't just refinance everything out of it. So I'll show you here in just a second what happens if you refinance too much. This is a bank rate mortgage calculator. I love mortgage calculators. They're so easy. So you can see here's my original mortgage amount, $87,200, 30 years, 4% interest rate. It shows that payment $416. So then, we can bump in the $143 around there, and you see your payment increases, but then we have to change the interest rate. Payment increases pretty close to what it was. You can see there's a $300 and some increase in your payment for refinancing that. Now, if I were to refinance it again in today's, valuations where my property is worth $300,000, I could take out possibly $220,000. I don't know if the bank would loan me that much because the rents don't justify a value that high. So let's just say we'll even do $200,000 loan. So I still have $100 and some thousand in equity. Rates are still pretty close to that, but look at my payment. It's now over $1,000. Another $300 increase. Now let's say rates are 5, just because I have so many loans in this investment property. Now we're at $1,073. You add on those other costs, I might be making a little bit of money, but now it's really tight, my cash flow on how much I'm making versus what my costs are. The monthly payment, the property management, the taxes, the insurance, the vacancies, the maintenance, all that has to be added in there. Even though my rent's $1,700, it's still really tight for cash flow. I always want to err on the side of caution in case the market decreases some, values go down, rents go down. I want to be sure I have plenty of cash flow in these properties. So when I'm pulling cash out, I want to be mindful of what my rents are so that I'm not pulling out all of my cash flow and I'm not making any money on the properties. All right, that's all I've got for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you have any questions or comments, please let me know. I've got 20 rentals now, 7 commercial, 13 residentials. I sold some of my residential rentals, refinanced quite a few of them so that I basically have almost no money invested in my residential rentals, but I have quite a bit in my commercial because I bought those more recently. And I have been using the BRRRR strategy as well on some of my commercial properties, and I'll have some links below in the description to my BRRRR commercial property I did a video on and some of my other rentals as well. So thanks for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Please leave comments. Give us a thumbs up if you did. And I try to respond to everybody if you do have a question. Thanks a lot.